turn loose with the question for Coach Sloan.
Your side get out of spring practice. What's the biggest?
One, I think just, Coach Stein does a great job with a lot of different situational football opportunities, and we just get so many reps. Splitting the team up into two teams and just two-spotting everything, the different opportunities that we get from a walkthrough standpoint and practice standpoint, and then all the different situations that come up. It just allows us to get a lot of plays installed, which is critical for us, getting things on tape that now we can go back and study and teach off of this summer, and getting to know our players, right? And, we get to, with the way we do, the way we format practice and everything, we get an opportunity to really see a lot of guys. So we can talk about what are the things that they need to work on and really have some great plans between now and August camp. So,
anybody really emerge that you weren't expecting from the spring that really surprised you?
I think there was a lot of guys who just did some great stuff. I would say we were getting used to everybody, right? Just being new. Obviously, some of the guys who had played here before, we had college tape on, and some of the guys that we brought in the portal, we had college tape on, and then some young high school players. But I think a lot of guys did great things. I don't know that there's any one guy that, I didn't think, I think we had expectations for everyone coming in, and I thought a lot of guys showed that they can handle a role. And I think that's really what will happen between now and August is, okay, coming into August, you got to define your role throughout the summer and the first week of August, because then we start getting really ready for the season.
Coach Stein, last week, he raved about a play from Kenny where he adjusted the defense and then adjusted to their adjustment, and it resulted in incompletion, but that was the play that he really loved. So what is Kenny's growth been like this spring?
Yeah, I think we asked the quarterback, right, to control a lot of things out there in our system, and I think it's great, right? It's what playing quarterback's all about. Obviously, Kenny's a really good thrower of the football. He's athletic. He can do so many things. But I think the way he's handled, the different, all the plays that we've thrown at him, all the situations we've thrown at him, but then like the one that Coach Stein was talking about in particular is just now starting to adjust protections, adjust runs, and be able to make quick adjustments, but also have an awareness of the situation, right, where the play clock is, or what kind of situation are we in, what are we trying to accomplish. And I think that's showing up in practice, and that's what was exciting. Everybody can answer it in an air-conditioned room, right, with a notepad, kicking back in a chair, right? Can you answer it, right, and execute it, right, in the moment when you have to? And I think that was one of those examples, and I think he's shown a lot of that, right, throughout spring, especially here as of late.
What do you think he'll show Kenny and the rest of the quarterbacks? What do you think they'll show Kentucky fans that they haven't seen? They've only heard what you guys said or what's been posted what we said. What do you think they'll show fans that they don't?
Well, I think Kenny's always going to represent us the right way, which I love. He carries himself like a pro. He's in here, he's working, he's communicating with the players, he's communicating with the coaching staff. He shows up to work every single day. And then I said it before last time I talked to you guys, right, is I think his accuracy consistently shows up. He's able to make plays with his feet. And then, when he's had some opportunities, he's been accurate down the field. And I think he's driving the football better than what he did. There's just some things we're working on that way. And getting his feet in the ground as he has different pocket movements. Because in this league, right, we're going to have some dirty pockets. Right, that's going to happen. And I think that's been really just a lot of things that he's worked on really hard. And I think have shown up. So I'm excited for him. But I think a lot of the quarterback room has improved. I think Brennan's made just massive jumps, and I think Chikai's done a really nice job. So I think all those guys are working. But I definitely am excited for Kenny with how he's taken advantage of the opportunity in front of him and his growth since he's gotten here in January.
How do you feel about running back? Obviously, holding CJ and Javante out of contact has given other guys opportunities. How do you feel about that position?
Yeah, well, I think as you look, obviously those guys have played a lot of football, which is great. If we were having to hold them out and they hadn't played a bunch, that's tough. But I think they're both really smart. They're good learners, and they've played a lot of football. So that's gives us comfort. But I think too, the JP obviously has taken advantage of reps. I think Deuce has consistently gotten better, and then I think Martell's in his move over. And what he's done, especially probably the last 7 practices or so, probably the last 2 weeks, I think you can really start to see his comfortability. I mean, missing all the walkthroughs, right, in February, leading into spring, and then just kind of, right, getting popped into that position was a lot. As he settled down, I think you can really see his athletic ability and his physicality. So that's been great. I think Colby Smith that just does a fabulous job. I think you could see it in the places he's been before, the production that those guys have had. And I think the kids really respond to him and Coach Tobridge. I think they're really responding to those guys, and they've done a great job working to get those guys better throughout the spring. And I know it's been it's always a little frustrating when a couple guys are out, but hey, it's a next man up mentality, and those kind of things are going to happen in the fall. And maybe it's at running, maybe it's a different position. We don't know. That's what I love about the structure of how we do things, because you get an opportunity to coach every player on our football team in real situations, not, hey, young guys, go over there on the other side and we're just going to run some base plays. Like, they're out there and they're running what we're running. And I love it. I do.
We heard a lot about the cameras and helmets for the quarterbacks and being a high-tech quarterback. Should we expect to see those in the spring game as well?
Oh, yeah. We won't take them off, I don't think. I mean, some of those decisions aren't made by me, but I can't imagine we would. We're going to always have a mindset and a culture of pushing the norms and working for growth and using every tool that's out there that we feel like can help our players win. And I think Coach Stein's had that mindset. I've had that mindset. That was part of our relationship, right, over the last several years, is always pushing the envelope and trying to do new things that help our guys grow. We're going to have that growth mindset, and I think he's established that throughout this building and throughout our organization, which is awesome. And the cameras, right, are one great example. It's been really good because you get to see it from their vantage point, but you also, there's a verbal aspect to it. And the quarterbacks have to talk a lot, communicate. So hearing how they communicate, when you hear yourself, right, you get an opportunity to really grow.
You can't mention guys specifically, but what kind of feedback are you getting from all these guys who are coming in and visiting, getting a chance to view what you guys do on a practice?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some really good players here. I think this is an unbelievable, right, place. When we get the opportunity to talk about University of Kentucky, when we get the opportunity to talk about Lexington, and we get the opportunity to talk about the staff that Coach Stein's put together, that's what has attracted some really good football players to come here and visit us. I think consistently what everyone said is the energy and the amount of reps we get at practice and how we coach, and that everyone's getting coached at all times. And I think that just raises the level of intensity. And listen, when we go in there and we're playing in Kroger Field, it's going to be intense, all right? And you have to learn to operate that environment. And I think the way we practice has created that environment. And that's been a big statement by a lot of the players that have come visited. And I think they see the vision of what we're doing right now. They can already see it, but they can also see, right, the plan, right, for the future, and the culture that's going to be established here, the type of players we're going to play with, and the expectations that we're going to have within the program.